Welcome back to this Let's Play of the original official campaign for Neverwinter Nights 2. Last time we blew up some bridges in an attempt to stall the advance of the undead army against our keep, and, well, we did pretty well. We took no casualties, and we caused some problems for them, though, as far as a stunning victory, it probably was not.
Captain, I heard that you had just arrived. It is good to see you safe.
And walking strangely. I don't know what it is with the walking scripts in this game, but they're not very well done. I mean, at least someone's head is not in front of the camera.
Despite our victory, we bring unwelcome news. Black Garius was present, and possesses powers that can turn the battle in their favor.
Yes, he can give us all seizures.
Garius can empower the dead, making them stronger. With that power, even their weakest foot soldiers become a threat to us.
Large they may be, but skeleton bones will still break, just as rotting flesh may still be pierced.
Right. Well, maybe this is kind of a walk and talk, West Wing style, where you can't just have a conversation, people standing around. They have to be walking somewhere. And, yeah, we're just not walking anywhere. I don't know what's going on.
But this talk can wait for later. Come, you must all be hungry. Rest tonight. And we'll discuss today's events on the morrow.
You are not seriously planning on fighting atop the walls, are you?
There's a non sequitur. Yeah, this entire sequence is badly done, but we'll ignore that.
I can understand. It's just, well, it's risky. Sometimes I just wonder what's to be gained by you throwing yourself into situations like this again and again. I know the King of Shadows must be stopped, but I don't understand why it always has to be you. Look, come with me up to the castle walls. I want to show you something. Might put things in perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with this.
Never mind then. Go on, get yourself killed tomorrow. See where that gets you.
That was the quote-unquote romance sequence, and I'm still doing this weird walking. Well, apparently, the enemy is at the gates, but I need to gain my level, so I'll be right back. Before you start this next section, you should buff up, because it actually gets kind of interesting kind of quickly. And this is a fairly long, sort of drawn-out fight, and I actually went through and bought a couple of these healers kit. He sells stacks of healers kits +3. There are actually a couple areas towards the end of the game where resting is not as trivial as it has been in the past. So I do want to, at least attempt to have the capability to continue without doing anything. I think this guy here is the last place in the game you can actually buy anything, so if he's got anything you could even remotely want, now's the time to buy it. Or if you have things you just want to get rid of. I can still use the gold in my inventory to make scrolls, so I don't want to throw out all of my money. Not that there's really anything else to buy, but... And again, you get to choose 2 people. And again, I'm going to choose Bishop, and just for the influence. I'm going to give him Grey Cloak Archers. And again, I'm going to pick Eleni, just because, well, she's useful when dealing with large groups of allies, because of her mass blessing. Well, not quite mass blessing, but you get the idea. And again, I'm going to bring along a lot of Grey Cloak Archers. And if you want to buff up just a little more, you can do so, but you can't control your companions to have it. You can use... They give you a Rod of Resurrection to use. Alright, now off in the distance here you can see 6 siege towers. We will have to fight each of those siege towers in order. Well, not in order. They arrive at different speeds. But off-screen, I'm just going to gain levels on people and buff up, and I'll be right back. I've started my buffing rondo here, but the enemy has arrived, so we're just going to have to cut it short. And switch back to our real weapons and fight. My main objective is to try and keep some of these troops alive so I don't have to resurrect them during the fight. But Bishop, during this fight, I'm actually going to primarily use him as a healer, having him use all these med kits I acquired.
You ain't got a chance!
And then I'm just going to leave everybody else to sort of at their own devices kill things. There are enemy arrows just coming in randomly all over the place. And the objective is to actually destroy the siege towers themselves. So sometimes you have to actually get your companions to not be stupid and directly attack the siege towers. But there's one of 6. And the siege towers, while they're alive, will just constantly spawn enemies. So I am going to just move on and leave these guys to their devices so that I can get on and move towards fighting this next siege tower. And I'll throw a spell in here once or twice, just for the fun of it. Sunburst is obviously useful for blinding things, but it's also very powerful against undead, just for damage purposes. Even if it's not a great spell for pure damage otherwise. Alright, where's the next siege? There's the next incoming tower. And just for amusement, I'm going to see what happens if you cast Bigby's Crushing Hand on one of these siege towers. It does damage over time, so it should actually be not totally ineffective at getting rid of them. Alright, while we're doing that, I'm going to have Eleni and her squad move up here and have her start throwing around sunbursts of her own.
Lost in bread, bastard!
And have Bishop go back to his healing duties. Not exactly what Bishop thought he was going to do, I'm sure, but it's Rangers do get heal as a class skill, and so he's just throwing around. It's actually about 40 hit point cures per shot, so that's fairly effective. I am going to need some backup over here, though. Where's Eleni? You're not Eleni.
Enemies are near.
You can actually select any of the soldiers, though they're like animal companions. You can sort of target them, but you can't actually give them direct orders, which is kind of annoying. But it's kind of like those giant space lizards that devour the sun. What can you do? And again, at some point in the fight, I'll throw Soothing Light out there just to get a little bit of free curing for everybody. Fortunately, the undead that spew out of these siege towers are not particularly hard, so our friendly archer guys can handle them pretty well. There's Bishop. And another siege tower bites the dust, and I think there's just the one left at the far end there.
Yeah, I can do it.
just for, giggles, I'm going to throw Cleansing Nova at it. Cleansing Nova is not great. It does about 80 damage at my level, and it does it fairly quickly, so it's not... It claims to be a damage over time attack, but it's really more of a just direct nuke. If you combine it with Web of Purity, which is the part of the ritual that Jero has, it's more effective, but it's still not great. And, if you could use it more than once a day, it might be something to try and build more strategy around, but as it is, it's just one shot. And I guess actually if you were behind on levels, you could just sit here and intentionally not fight these towers and just farm for XP. I may not hit 20 in this playthrough, but we'll see.
Captain, all the siege towers have been destroyed!
Sir?
Captain, the gate will not hold!
Especially not against
They're
vampire
coming through!
mage girls.
Might as well let them have this wall. Let's get back to the courtyard and finish this bloodbath.
And unfortunately all of our buffs
Soldiers,
wear
shut
off.
the gates! The captain has arrived with the remaining forces. Captain, look! The sun has emerged from its slumber. Garius may have fought his way under cover of darkness, but his troops are no doubt now burning under daylight's rays. Even with its remaining undead, the King of Shadows will be hard-pressed to breach the inner walls. Without their towers, they'll be defenseless against our attacks from above.
Yes, defenseless. Stay on the walls. You might live through this. For what it's worth, I'm almost sorry about this. Almost. Let me show you. This gate of yours isn't coming down, which means this precious keep of yours won't be standing long. Don't bother trying to repair the gate mechanism. I took a look at it earlier, and it was much easier to destroy than I thought. I think you'll see the wisdom of this in time. The road's always open to the winning side, Captain.
Well, so much for trying to gain influence with Bishop.
Your orders, Captain. We must hold this courtyard as long as possible. Be brave, men, for the sun has come to our aid. Captain, this blockade is our last stand. Which of your companions should I send to fight alongside you?
And again, I'm going to bring along Eleni
Who else?
and Cassidy.
Our men will form a line within the blockade. Let the enemy come to us in the center, where they may taste the steel of our arrows. We'll send in additional units as you need them, sir. Which would you like as the first? And which unit should stay with you along the front lines, Captain?
So I'm going to bring along a bunch of dwarves.
Hannah! The undead! They don't fear the light!
What?
The vampires, the shadows, all of them! They're still coming! They're here!
Here they come.
Alright, now fortunately they have you rest, but you do have to recast all your buffs. I'm going to take stock of things and be right back. Well, it looks like we're not going to have time to cast our buffs, because here come the enemies already, and they haven't quite completely drawn yet. But we're out of time for this episode, so next time, the defense of the courtyard.